it's Warhammer Sean. I'm here today to talk about Codex Adeptus Mechanicus, Cult Mechanicus. It's going to be, I'm guessing, a 3-part video, just because I'll probably go through like warlord traits and gear this episode, and then do the actual like troops and stuff in the next one, and then do final stuff on the third. It's not a super big codex. It's got a lot of, fluff and things in it, but as far as like things to take and units that are available, there's not a ton of things. I do think that this codex is a little bit more survivable or solid than Codex Scutari. However, it's certainly not as fast. A lot of things are kind of slow moving. But I think the two together will work very well. Or potentially, since I don't necessarily agree with it 100%, but all of an Imperium is allies, or battle brothers. Basically, they can share each other's transports, so you can put these guys in drop pods and stuff like that. So the main forces of the Cult Mechanicus, the main Cult Mechanicus battle congregation is their main detachment. Now, they do have an HQ, so you can actually take a combined arms attachment or an allied detachment if you want to. So compulsory, you have to take 1 HQ and 2 troops, but you can take up to 6 more troops, so a total of 8. You can take up to 4 elites and 2 heavy support and 1 fortification. Basically, command benefits is you get to reroll when rolling on the warlord traits in Cult Mechanicus. And Divine Chorus, if your army includes 1 or more detachments with a special rule, you can once per game choose to reuse a Canticle of Omnissiah that your army has already used earlier in the game. So it looks like even if you take more of them, you can't double up on this. So that's a pretty easy detachment to fill, really. And, maybe worthwhile taking. Now, we'll go through some of the formations in here, too. Actually, maybe not, because it won't really make sense until we go through the troops, so never mind. The Army Special Rules, Canticles of the Omnissiah. At the start of each of your turns, you can choose 1 Canticle of Omnissiah from the list. Then this affects each canticle lasts until the start of your next turn, unless otherwise stated. Each canticle can only be used once per game. The strength of each canticle will vary depending on the number of units performing it. At the start of your turn, add up the number of friendly units on the battlefield that have the Canticles of Omnissiah special rule and apply the appropriate level and effect. Do not include units that are currently falling back in this total. Once a Canticle has been activated, it remains at that level of effect until the beginning of your next turn, even if the number of units performing it changes during that turn. So that's important to remember. So basically, you add up the units that you have in your army that have the Canticles of Omnissiah, even if they're not necessarily part of the same detachment. It doesn't really matter if they have this rule. And so the effects are 1 through 3 units, 4 through 7, and then 8 plus. And the important thing is if you activate it on your turn, let's say you have 4 to 7, let's say you have 5, and during your opponent's turn, you end up, or even in your turn in assault or say something, you end up losing a few units, then even on your opponent's turn, that is still in effect as if it was activated at level 4 or 5, versus like 3 units you may have left. So that's important, especially some of the close combat ones. So let's go through those quick. Incantation of the Iron Soul. So basically depends on what level. So 1 through 3 units. Friendly units with the Canticles of Omnissiah gain the Stubborn special rule. 4 through 7 units. Canticles of Omnissiah gain Stubborn special rule and must reroll all failed morale, fear, and pinning tests. And 8 plus units, Canticles of Omnissiah gain the Fearless special rule. And then Litany of the Electromancer. 1 through 3 units. Each unit suffers a single Strength 4 AP-hit for each model with the Canticles of Omnissiah rule in units that are locked in combat, resolve at initiative 10 in the fight subphase. So each enemy unit suffer a single Strength 4 AP-hit for each model with the Canticles of Omnissiah special rule in units that are locked in. I'm thinking what they're trying to say here is that every model in that unit, so if you have 5 models in the unit, then each unit they're locked in with is going to suffer 5 hits at Strength 4. I think that's what they're trying to say. It's a little confusing. The wording is not very well done. 4 through 7, enemy units suffer 2 Strength 4 AP-hits for each model with the Canticles on the Omnissiah special rule in units that they are locked in with combat with an initiative 10 fight phase. At 8+, you get 3 Strength 4 AP-hits. Chant of the Remorseless Fist. 1 through 3 units. Friendly units with the Canticles on the Omnissiah special rule reroll failed to hit rolls of 1 when making close combat attacks. 4 through 7, the friendly units with this rule reroll failed to hit rolls of 1 and 2 when making close combat attacks. And then 8+, friendly units with Canticles on the Omnissiah reroll all failed to hit rolls when making close combat attacks. So, and then Shroud Psalm, 1 through 3 units with the Omnissiah gain Stealth special rule. If you have 4 to 7 of these units, you gain Shrouded special rule, and 8+, you get Stealth and Shrouded special rule, which is good. Invocation of Machine Might, 1 through 3 units with Canticles add add 1 strength to their strength characteristics. 4 through 7, you add 2 to the strength characteristics, and 8+, you add 3 to the strength characteristics. Benediction of Omniscience. 1 through 3 units with Canticles reroll failed to hit rolls of 1 when making shooting attacks. And 4 through 7 reroll failed to hit rolls of 1 or 2 when making shooting attacks. And for 8+, they reroll all failed to hit rolls when making shooting attacks. So, that gets better over time. So there's basically 6 of them, and there's potentially 7 turns in the game. So potentially, if it goes on a turn 7, you're not going to get one if you use one every turn. And it starts at the beginning of your turn. So if you don't have the top of turn 1, you're not going to get a Canticle off until your turn, and it's going to be in effect until your part of turn 2, and so on. Warlord traits. Role number 1 is Reinforced Exoskeleton. So your warlord has the Eternal Warrior special rule. That's always a good thing. Artificer Armament. Nominate 1 weapon that your warlord carries, and this weapon has a Mastercrafted special rule. However, this cannot be applied to an items of the Arcana Mechanicum, which is their relic gear. Masterwork Bionics. Your warlord can reroll failed Field of Pain rolls. Archaeotech Specialist. When your warlord or his unit discovers a mysterious objective, instead of rolling to identify it, you can choose which result of the mysterious objectives table to apply to that objective for the rest of the game. Now, some people might joke about that one being bad. I think it's actually good, especially if you start these guys somewhere near it on turn 1 and 1 in your deployment zone. If you need something like you want to keep a unit alive, then you say, okay, I'm going to make this 1+1 to cover. Or I need to be able to shoot stuff out of the air. I'm going to choose Skyfire. So it's actually not a bad one. It's not a bad warlord trait to have, really, I don't think. Number 5 is your warlord's close combat attacks have the Haywire special rule. Always good. Layered Psalm Code. When you choose a Canticle of the Omnissiah, your warlord and his unit always benefit from the highest level of effect of that Canticle, i.e. the effect listed for 8+ units. irrespective of the actual number of friendly units with the Mechanicus on the side special rule currently on the battlefield. So that's really good. If you get that one, you might want to put it with a hard unit because it's going to hit hardest or shoot the hardest or be protected the best. So it's actually a good one too. I like their warlord traits. I think the last few codices I've been impressed with the warlord traits being more useful and not being so meh, in my opinion. Allies for these guys for Cult Mechanicus, they have the Cult Mechanicus faction, and they basically are armies of the Imperium, so they're basically battle brothers with all those guys, and yeah. So that are the Mechanicals and the warlord traits. Their weapons, they've got a lot of different ones kind of added in here. Compared to normal Imperium armies, except for Scutari, which have similar things. Electrostatic gauntlets are range 12 inches, strength 4, assault 2, twin linked, and they're in melee plus 1 strength. The eradication ray is 0 to 12 inches, strength 8, AP 1, heavy 1, 12 to 24 inches, strength 6, AP 3, heavy 1 blast. A gamma pistol is 12-inch range, strength 6, AP 2, pistol, armor bane. And then a heavy arc rifle is 36 inches, strength 6, AP 5, heavy 2, haywire. Very good for vehicles. Heavy grav cannon is 30-inch range, which is better than the normal grav weapons that the Space Marines have. It's salvo 4.6 concussive graviton, and it's AP 2. So it works the same way it wounds on the armor save, or if it's a vehicle, it wounds on it, or it immobilizes and does a glancing hit on a 6. Pretty good. Flamer weapons. They have Cognus Flamer that is strength 4, AP 5, assault 1, Cognus. Now the Cognus, when the wall of flames or the flame walls during Overwatch, instead of rolling D3 wounds or hits, D3 hits, it automatically inflicts 3 hits rather than D3. That's pretty good, especially with more than one of these guys. Incendine Combustor is a template weapon that is strength 4, AP 5, like a flamer. It's assault 1 and it's torrent. Once again, pretty good. Torrent's always nice. Macro Stubber. I kind of like this guy. He's a range 12, strength 4, AP 6 burst pistol. So it's a pistol, so it's a close combat weapon, but it fires 5 shots when fired. Otherwise, it's treated as pistol. So you get 5 shots with that burst pistol, strength 4. That's good. I mean, it's almost like, a squad of 5 bolt pistol guys, except a little bit worse AP. Phosphor weapons. Phosphor weapons once again have Lumigen, just like the Scutari. If a unit suffers 1 or more unsaved wounds or glancing or penetrating hits, then the cover save counts as being 1 point worse than normal until the end of that phase. And furthermore, units can re-roll the dice to determine their charge range against afflicted unit until the end of the turn. So it helps the cover save during the shooting phase, but after that phase is gone, but they can re-roll to assault range, as almost giving them a kind of a special fleet. The Phosphor Serpenta is 18-inch range, strength 5, AP 4, assault 1, Lumigen. Phosphor Blaster is strength 5, AP 4, rapid fire Lumigen, 24-inch range. Heavy Phosphor Blaster is 36 inches, strength 6, AP 3, heavy 3 Lumigen. That's pretty good. Plasma Culverin, same as the Scutari. It's range 24 inches, strength 7, AP 2, heavy 2, blast weapon, gets hot. Still pretty good. It does get hot, but it's plasma. Torsion Cannon is range 24 inches, strength 8, AP 1, heavy 1, gravitic contortion. What that does is each time a non-vehicle model suffers an unsaved wound from this weapon, it loses D3 wounds instead of just 1. That's good, especially against monstrous creatures or super heavy or gargantuan creatures. Each time a vehicle model suffers a penetrating hit, so it's penetrating, not just glancing, it loses D3 hull points instead of only 1. Once again, that's pretty dang good. If you can hurt a super heavy vehicle or a knight, That's pretty nice. D3 hull points. I mean, you might be able to take it down, and if you get penetrations, you might be able to take it down in a few shots. Pretty nice. All right, Volkite Blaster. That's a range 24-inch, strength 6, AP 5, heavy 3, deflag rate. And after normal attacks by this weapon have been resolved, count the number of unsaved wounds caused to the target. Immediately resolve a number of additional automatic strength 6 AP 5 hits on the same unit equal to the number of unsaved wounds. Models in this target unit must still be in range in order for this additional hits to take effect. Any further wounds caused as a result of the special rule do not cause any further hits. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I think the Adeptus Mechanicus has a lot of unique weapons compared to most everybody else. The Arc Claw, which is a melee weapon, is +1 strength, AP 5, melee haywire. Data Spike, strength of the user, melee data spike haywire. When a model equipped with this weapon that has this special rule makes a melee attack, it makes an additional attack with this weapon in Initiative Step 10 that does not grant the model an additional pilot move. Electroleech Stave, +2 strength, AP 4, similar to a Maul. Melee concussive Electroleech two-handed. Any to-wound roll of 6 made by this weapon has instant death special roll. Cool. Hydraulic Claw, +2 strength, AP dash. Iron Grasp unwieldy. So in unwieldy, it's going into step 1. A model can choose to give up all of its attacks and do one single grasp attack. If it does so, roll to hit as normal, but resolve the attack at double the model's strength to a maximum of 10 and AP 2. So, like a poor man's Power Claw. I don't know. I'm not sure how much I really like that one. Armor. Artificer Armor is 2+ save, which is always. Castellan Battlehide is a 3+ armor save. Cataphron Breachplate is a 3+ armor save. Cataphron Demiplate is a 4+ armor save. Conversion Field is a 4-up invulnerable save. They're kind of bringing this back from Rogue Trader in 2nd edition. At the end of the phase in which the bearer passes one or more invulnerable saves by the Conversion Field, all units within D6 inches of the bearer must test as if they had been hit by a weapon with the blind special rule. Friendly units can re-roll this test. Now, it doesn't specifically say that it ignores the unit it's with, so potentially the model that's in a unit, the unit itself can be blinded as well, which is interesting. Digital weapons. A model armed with digital weapons can re-roll a single failed to wound in each assault phase. It's cool, like any digital weapon. Infoslave Skull. A model equipped with Infoslave Skull adds 1 to their leadership against and gains acute senses special rule. Mechanodrite Harness. A model with this can fire all of its ranged weapons in the shooting phase. In addition, a model with this harness is also equipped with a data spike. See opposite. So the data spike rules. Refractor Field is a 5-up invulnerable save. Scryer's Skull. At the start of each of your turns, a model with a Scryer's Skull can choose to identify a single mysterious objective anywhere on the battlefield. All right. While a model equipped with a Stasis Field is the other one. While the model equipped with a Stasis Field has gone to ground, it gains a 2+ invulnerable save, but its weapon skill and ballistic skill are reduced to 0. So that means if anything attacks it in close combat, it's going to be hit automatically because it's immobilized. So, and it basically can't shoot either. So you can't even make snapfire shots. A Voltgeist Field confers a 5-up invulnerable save. Furthermore, a model with a Voltgeist Field has a Hammer of Wrath special rule, resolved at strength 4, and does not suffer the penalty to initiative for charging enemies through difficult terrain, but fights at normal initiative in the ensuing combat. So it's like having grenades. Excuse me. Let's go through the Arcana Mechanicum, which is like their relics. The raiment of the Technomartyr it has a 2+ armor save. Furthermore, all ranged weapons carried by models with Cult Mechanicus or Scutari faction in the bearer's unit have the Cognus special rule. That's pretty powerful. So basically everything in Scutari and Cult Mechanicus gets Cognus. So they're firing at Bliss Skill 2 in Overwatch and Snapshots. And also Flamer weapons will have 3 hits versus D3. I mean, that's pretty powerful. Let's see how much that little bad boy is. I'm curious. Raiment. 30 points. I'm surprised it's not even more. But I would think like 40 points for how good that is. But that's pretty dang good. I mean, it wouldn't even have to be on your HQ, your Warlord, or your HQ. It could be on another one that can take these, these relics. Anzion's Pseudogenitor. Model equipped with this makes D6 additional close combat attacks with the following profile: Strength 4, AP 5, Melee, Shred. That's pretty good. That is 15 points. Probably worth it. The Mask of Alpha Dominus. The bearer can use the Mask of Alpha Dominus at any time to instantly change the battle protocol of any friendly Castellan robot maniple or cohort cybernetica formation within 12 inches of the bearer. The new battle protocol becomes active immediately. However, the unit or formation cannot use the battle protocol they changed from for the rest of the game. So if you need to automatically change the protocol right away, you can do it, although it doesn't make it so that you can't change it again the rest of the game. So for an emergency, even on, because it says it at any time, so basically even in the opponent's turn, you could potentially do it, where you could potentially change away from something into something to protect them or make them better at close combat. And that one is 15 points as well. The Caduceus of Archon Land. Who the hell comes up with these names? The bearer of the Caduceus of Archon Land and his unit will have It Will Not Die special rule. Potentially also a good one for the Castilian robot maniple because they have multiple wounds. So Uncreator, and sorry, that one is 30 points and may only be taken by a Tech Priest Dominus. Oh, that's uncool. Really? I guess never mind. You're not putting that on anybody else but the HQ. Weird. That's weird that they would do that to him. You think they'd allow it to be taken on somebody else? Because it's not like you can take more than one of them anyway. Doesn't really make a lot of sense. Oh well. Uncreator Gauntlet. Model equipped with the Uncreator Gauntlet can use it in the fight subphase instead of making its normal close combat attacks. To do so, nominate a vehicle model, friend or foe, in base contact with the bearer. If you choose an enemy vehicle, roll to hit with a single attack. If the attack hits, or if you choose a friendly vehicle, roll a d6 and consult the following table. So a roll of a 1, your vehicle regains a hull point lost earlier in the game, or the enemy unit would lose a hull point. 2 through 3, you can choose the vehicle to gain 1 hull point lost earlier in the game, or lose a hull point. Oh, I'm sorry. On the roll of a 1, your opponent chooses for the vehicle to regain a hull point lost earlier or lose a hull point. So invulnerable saves can be made against this. So basically, if you're trying to hit somebody or if you're trying to repair yourself, your opponent could basically choose to take a hull point off of it. 2 through 3, you basically regain a hull point or lose a hull point off an enemy unit. 4 through 5, choose for the vehicle to regain D3 hull points lost earlier in the game or lose D3 hull points. And then 6, choose for the vehicle to regain D6 hull points or lose D6 hull points. invulns can be taken against it. So this guy may be really good against hurting an Imperial Knight, assuming that it survives the attack from the Imperial Knight in the first place. Because it would go at initiative, so it would go before a stomp attack. Now, this one is, the Uncreator Gauntlet is 35 points. So it's a little pricey, but potentially worth it, especially if you're taking down something really good. I'm trying to see here. Yeah, everybody that could take it has a initiative 3, so it would go before a stomp attack. The Scryer Skull, Perspiticus. At the start of each of your turns, a model with this Scryer Skull can choose to identify a single mysterious objective or to scry an enemy vehicle anywhere on the battlefield. If you choose to scry an enemy vehicle, any friendly units with Cult Mechanicus or Scutari faction reroll armor penetration rolls against a vehicle. You can choose to reroll glancing hits on it and attempt to instead get a penetrating hit until the start of your next turn. It's not bad. Or you can try to identify a mysterious objective. So, and that one is 25 points, and that has to be taken by the Tech Priest Dominus as well. So not terrible. So that is all the war gear and stuff for the Cult Mechanicus. I think I'm going to stop here and we'll do the units next, and then probably we'll do a third video and have the formations in it once we have a chance to cover the units, and then just kind of do final thoughts. All right, until next time, happy wargaming.
Goodbye. 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 Bye-bye. Goodbye. See ya. Bye for now. Bye for now. Goodbye. I like bottoms.